Sometimes an object arrives from a past decade that feels like a message sent to challenge everything we assume about practicality, personality, and purpose. It stands there with proportions that should not work yet somehow signal a kind of confidence that makes you pause and reconsider what ingenuity looked like before wind tunnels and digital render cycles took over the industry. It invites you to imagine daily life filtered through simpler tools, lighter materials, and an optimism that believed mobility could be both humble and charming. And when you look closer, you realize that behind the odd lines and curious geometry is a story about ambition, national identity, and the desire to offer something accessible without feeling generic. Today we unwrap one of those machines and see how it came to represent far more than its specification sheet suggests. If you enjoy deep dives into unusual automotive history, remember to like, subscribe, and comment the next topic. The 1966 Citroën Ami 6 enters this story as a car that blended ambition with peculiarity. It looked unconventional yet tried to serve families who needed mobility that felt attainable and practical. To understand how the 1966 Citroën Ami 6 formed its identity, we have to place it inside a France still transitioning from an economy shaped by endurance and frugality into one increasingly influenced by modern tastes and a growing middle class. The country was eager for affordable mobility but not eager to give up character, and the Ami 6 attempted to satisfy both. The car did not aim to be a premium product. Instead, it tried to bring advanced ideas to a reachable price point, using compact packaging, lightweight engineering, and a curious sense of style to express a philosophy that valued comfort and efficiency over conformity. At the center of that philosophy was the unmistakable reverse rake rear window. It looked eccentric to many observers but came from a functional decision to provide headroom, visibility, and a clean rear glass in wet conditions, and it demonstrated how Citroën treated problem-solving as an exercise in bold choices. The 1966 Citroën Ami 6 also sat on a structural foundation that connected it to a long line of mechanically simple, low-mass vehicles. Its air-cooled engine worked with modest power but delivered durability for everyday commuting, and its low weight allowed the chassis to move with a lightness and compliance few rivals attempted. The interconnected suspension gave the 1966 Citroën Ami 6 a surprising ride quality that felt far more refined than its modest footprint suggested. It soaked up rough roads while keeping the cabin calm, reflecting a company determined to offer comfort as a universal right rather than a premium incentive. Drivers who stepped into the cabin found a space that leaned heavily on minimalism. The dashboard used clear shapes, light materials, and easily reachable controls, all arranged to reduce complexity without feeling stripped down. For families transitioning from scooters or earlier small vehicles, the 1966 Citroën Ami 6 felt like a meaningful upgrade. It offered secure seating, weather protection, and enough cargo room to support errands, school runs, and small business needs. Many owners found that the unusual shape served a practical purpose. The tall roof allowed adults to enter and exit with ease, and the raised cabin made long drives less tiring compared with lower, heavier cars from another manufacturer. While the styling challenged traditional ideas about sedans, it also made the Ami 6 instantly recognizable. In an era full of similar silhouettes, this unusual car stood out, helping buyers feel that they were purchasing something expressive rather than anonymous. The 1966 Citroën Ami 6 was also shaped by cost constraints. Every decision required a careful balance between innovation and affordability, and the engineering team prioritized components that could be produced with existing tools while still delivering a distinctive experience. This approach led to mechanical simplicity that helped keep maintenance costs low. Owners appreciated that oil changes, tune-ups, and routine care did not demand specialized knowledge or high-priced service appointments. Its boxy yet sculpted front end gave the car a personality that sometimes puzzled reviewers but earned affection from people who valued uniqueness. Over time, this difference became a selling point rather than a weakness. The 1966 Citroën Ami 6 also represented a cultural stance. It showed that practicality did not have to be dull and that affordable cars could reflect creativity instead of conformity. Marketing materials of the time emphasized comfort, thrift, and individuality. They positioned the car as an ideal companion for buyers who wanted more than simple transportation but did not seek luxury. The car carved a niche among teachers, shop owners, and rural families. Its modest running costs and compliant ride made it appealing for long distances on imperfect roads. Inside cities, its compact size and light steering made parking simple. The car behaved predictably at low speeds and offered a commanding view outward, helping new drivers feel confident. The 1966 Citroën Ami 6 also served as a bridge between earlier minimalist vehicles and later, more modern platforms. It introduced features and comfort levels that hinted at where automotive design was heading while retaining the low weight and efficiency values of earlier generations. Within the French automotive landscape, the 1966 Citroën Ami 6 embodied a willingness to make brave stylistic moves in service of function. It was as much a statement of identity as a transportation device. Although some observers initially struggled to understand its appearance, the car slowly accumulated a loyal following who appreciated its balance of thriftiness and charm. It became a familiar sight in small towns and rural regions where reliability and ride comfort mattered more than prestige. The 1966 Citroën Ami 6 also became part of a broader conversation about what a family car needed to be. Instead of chasing trends from another manufacturer, it stayed committed to its own priorities, resulting in a machine that felt coherent even when it looked unconventional. As we examine the heritage of this unusual sedan, we see how its engineering and design choices form a clear narrative about problem-solving, resourcefulness, and confidence in unconventional solutions. The more we look, the more it becomes evident that each trait connects to a larger purpose. The 1966 Citroën Ami 6 holds a place in automotive history as a vehicle that challenged assumptions while offering practicality in a form that was unmistakably its own. It continues to spark curiosity because it dared to be different in ways that were thoughtful rather than whimsical. Its story encourages us to rethink how we judge automobiles. Sometimes the features that seem odd at first glance become the ones that offer the greatest insight. The 1966 Citroën Ami 6 stands at the midpoint of its era as both an outlier and a reflection of deep-seated priorities within French automotive thinking. To understand its trajectory, we explore the forces that shaped its engineering decisions, customer reception, and long-term identity. The 1966 Citroën Ami 6 relied on a platform derived from earlier minimalist roots, but it wrapped that heritage in a shell designed to solve practical needs with confidence. The reverse rake rear window became its most visible feature, yet the decision came from the goal of keeping the glass clean in rain while preserving luggage access, allowing the car to serve families who needed dependable visibility in unpredictable climates. As road networks improved and commuting habits changed, the Ami 6 had to balance efficiency with more demanding expectations. The air-cooled engine delivered modest horsepower, but its light weight allowed it to keep pace with everyday traffic while maintaining low fuel consumption that resonated with budget-conscious households facing rising living costs. Owners of the 1966 Citroën Ami 6 often emphasized how the ride softened rough terrain. The interconnected suspension behaved like a system tuned to absorb roadway irregularities instead of transmitting them to passengers, which helped rural drivers travel long distances without fatigue. This smoothness contrasted sharply with the firmer suspensions used by a rival that targeted performance-minded buyers. The Ami 6 stayed faithful to comfort as a guiding principle, reinforcing the idea that serenity could be engineered even into a low-cost car. The 1966 Citroën Ami 6 also expressed a design philosophy that did not view straight lines and symmetry as mandatory. The headlamp arrangement, the unusual angles of the body panels, and the tall greenhouse gave the vehicle an almost architectural presence, like a compact building shaped by airflow, ergonomics, and cost constraints. During this period, France cultivated a national reputation for embracing identity in industrial design. Everyday products were encouraged to show personality, and the Ami 6 fit neatly into that cultural current by proving that utility could come wrapped in whimsy. The 1966 Citroën Ami 6 interiors showed how thoughtful decisions could stretch a limited budget. The lightweight seats, simple floor coverings, and accessible controls helped drivers feel comfortable without relying on expensive materials. And the airy cabin made long trips less confining than in low-roof competitors. Even more impressive was how the car handled maintenance. It used minimal fluids, small quantities of consumables, and straightforward service points, allowing owners to handle routine care with basic tools rather than frequent dealer visits. The 1966 Citroën Ami 6 quickly became a symbol of freedom for younger drivers and students who valued mobility but needed something reliable and inexpensive. The running costs were predictably low, and the car tolerated regular use in villages, towns, and cities without excessive strain. Meanwhile, families appreciated the cargo flexibility. The tall roof and flat loading area accommodated groceries, tools, school bags, and luggage in ways that larger but lower-slung sedans sometimes struggled to match. The 1966 Citroën Ami 6 also sparked discussion among enthusiasts and critics who debated whether its unusual silhouette represented courage or indulgence. Some argued that the eccentric form limited its mass appeal, while others saw it as a refreshing alternative to the uniformity growing elsewhere. This debate extended to ergonomics. The tall cabin improved comfort but created wind sensitivity at higher speeds, requiring careful tuning to ensure stability and confidence in crosswinds. Engineers responded by refining suspension geometry, damping, and body bracing, giving the 1966 Citroën Ami 6 a planted feel that surprised testers familiar with its modest specifications. The car also had to handle evolving safety expectations. While safety standards were still developing, Citroën used strong structural elements and predictable handling responses to enhance driver confidence, making the Ami 6 feel secure even on narrow rural roads. The 1966 Citroën Ami 6 cultivated a loyal following among commuters who drove long distances every day. Its fuel efficiency, relaxed ride, and dependable startup behavior made it a companion more than a machine. In contrast, drivers from regions with more expressway travel sometimes wished for more power, yet many accepted the trade-off because the car excelled in the environments where most people actually drove. As markets changed, the 1966 Citroën Ami 6 adapted with trim variations that added features without altering its core identity. Modest visual updates, new colors, and improved materials helped keep the car appealing while preserving its familiar form. Dealers understood that the Ami 6 attracted buyers who valued honesty and efficiency over status. The sales approach highlighted comfort, accessibility, and charm instead of trying to make the car appear more premium than intended. The 1966 Citroën Ami 6 also reflected a broader shift toward lighter vehicles aimed at reducing running costs and improving real-world usability. Its engineering choices signaled an early recognition that compact, efficient cars could meet daily needs without feeling compromised. Its ownership experience taught drivers that enjoyment did not require high-speed capability. The pleasure came from the smoothness of the suspension, the clarity of outward visibility, and the sense that the car belonged in both countryside and city environments. The 1966 Citroën Ami 6 maintained its unique presence through calm consistency. It never tried to chase trends or imitate another manufacturer, which helped solidify its status as a car defined by purpose rather than fashion. Over time, the public perception shifted as nostalgia and appreciation grew. What once seemed odd began to feel authentic, and the Ami 6 gained new admirers who valued its individuality and engineering honesty. The 1966 Citroën Ami 6 remains a study in how unconventional ideas become enduring when executed with conviction. Every angle, detail, and choice told a story about solving problems through creativity rather than conformity. This segment of its history shows how practicality and personality can coexist in a single machine. The Ami 6 proved that even modest cars can leave strong impressions when they express clear priorities. The 1979 Suzuki GS 1000S shapes this final deep segment by showing how a single motorcycle can influence rider culture, engineering priorities, and long-term expectations for big displacement machines. Its legacy provides a clear lens for understanding why certain design values endure. The GS 1000S helped normalize the idea that a high-performance motorcycle could be both approachable and confident. It showed that power did not need to overwhelm and that stability under pressure mattered as much as acceleration numbers. Riders found that the GS 1000S cultivated skill development through straightforward mechanical communication. It rewarded deliberate technique, smooth control inputs, and consistent situational awareness. In turn, this shaped broader riding communities because enthusiasts learned to appreciate machines that aligned with real-world capabilities rather than speculative specifications. One of the most significant impacts of the GS 1000S was its ability to serve different segments of the riding population without diluting its character. Commuters, sport-oriented riders, and touring enthusiasts found value in its balanced layout. This versatility influenced how manufacturers approached future big bikes. It proved that a motorcycle could meet diverse needs while retaining a coherent identity. The GS 1000S demonstrated that engineering refined for stability and feedback produced stronger long-term engagement than engineering focused solely on peak output. This insight guided future product strategies across the industry. Enthusiasts often cite the GS1000S as a motorcycle that maintained its relevance as riding culture evolved. Its structural integrity, mechanical predictability, and manageable ergonomics allowed it to remain enjoyable even decades after its introduction. Its performance remained accessible. Riders who returned to the GS1000S after experiencing more contemporary machines often described its character as refreshing because it highlighted the importance of rider finesse. This reinforces the model's contribution to a culture that respects incremental skill building. It represents an era when proficiency emerged from repeated practice rather than electronic assistance. The GS1000S also influenced the aesthetics of future performance motorcycles. Its fairing introduced a functional and recognizable shape that became part of the visual language for sport-oriented models. Its color scheme, proportions, and stance projected confidence without resorting to exaggerated aggression. This approach created a design identity that resonated with riders seeking a motorcycle that looked serious without alienating everyday users. The model's understated presence became part of its charm. It carried a sense of authenticity that appealed to those who favored clean, purposeful design. Collectors and restoration enthusiasts often gravitate toward the GS1000S because it embodies a type of engineering that is increasingly rare. The mechanical layout is accessible and understandable, and the riding experience feels grounded in physical feedback rather than electronic filters. This makes the motorcycle an excellent platform for preservation. Every component reflects a period when design choices had to balance performance with durability and affordability. The continued interest in the GS1000S demonstrates how a well-engineered machine can remain relevant through shifting market trends. It stands as a reminder that mechanical clarity holds enduring appeal. The GS1000S has also earned a place in long-distance riding communities. Its strong engine, balanced chassis, and comfortable ergonomics allowed many riders to cover significant mileage with confidence. The model's reliability made it a trusted companion for long trips across varied terrain. Riders valued its ability to handle diverse conditions without unexpected surprises. This engagement with travel shaped how the GS1000S is remembered. It became associated with exploration and the satisfaction of covering ground under one's own guidance. Even as modern touring motorcycles introduced more features and amenities, the GS1000S retained respect for its straightforward execution and rider-centric design. In performance-oriented communities, the GS1000S remains admired for its handling discipline. It held its line through corners, communicated tire grip effectively, and responded predictably to suspension loading. These traits allowed the motorcycle to deliver satisfying performance without requiring excessive effort. Experienced riders enjoyed its cooperative nature while newer riders appreciated its forgiveness during practice. The GS1000S helped define an era when control and balance mattered as much as acceleration. This influence persisted in later models that emphasized comprehensive performance rather than single metric dominance. Modern evaluations of the GS1000S often highlight its role in transitioning from the brute strength mentality of early big-bore motorcycles to the more holistic performance approach that followed. Engineers learned from its balanced character, shaping future machines with improved materials, refined combustion processes, and lighter chassis designs. However, the underlying principle of harmonizing power, handling, and ergonomics remains central. Riders who study the GS1000S today often cite it as a blueprint for understanding motorcycle dynamics. Its clear feedback and predictable behavior provide a foundation for analyzing how different components work together. The 1979 Suzuki GS1000S ultimately stands as a motorcycle that bridged eras while establishing its own firm identity. Its legacy thrives because it delivered performance through refinement, stability, and rider engagement. It encouraged riders to build skill through awareness and control, reinforced the value of honest mechanical communication, and demonstrated that a motorcycle could blend strength with civility. The model endures not as a nostalgic artifact but as a living example of how smart engineering and balanced design can shape generations of enthusiasts who appreciate genuine connection to the road and a sense of purpose behind every mile. The 1966 Citroën Ami 6 closes its story with a legacy shaped by ingenuity, practicality, and expressive design. It shows how a compact family car can influence automotive culture by standing firmly behind its purpose. At the heart of its long-lasting appeal is the idea that creativity does not need a large budget. The 1966 Citroën Ami 6 demonstrated that imaginative thinking can elevate simple engineering into something memorable. From its distinctive silhouette to its calm ride and efficient drivetrain, the car represented a philosophy that valued comfort, dependability, and character. These qualities allowed it to serve families, commuters, students, and tradespeople through decades of change. The 1966 Citroën Ami 6 remains relevant because it solved real-world problems with confidence. It offered visibility in tight streets, compliance over rough roads, and affordability in eras when cost consciousness mattered deeply. Every component reflected an effort to give drivers more utility from less complexity, a vision that continues to resonate in modern conversations about sustainable design. By looking closely at the evolution of the 1966 Citroën Ami 6, we gain insight into how vehicles can shape personal and cultural identity. The car became more than transportation because it carried the values of creativity, durability, and approachability. Enthusiasts appreciate it not out of nostalgia alone but because its solutions still feel meaningful in a world shaped by rising urban density and efficiency demands. The Ami 6 reminds us that innovation can start with a clear understanding of daily needs. The story of the 1966 Citroën Ami 6 reinforces the importance of trust between driver and machine. Its sense of calm confidence made it a loyal companion for countless families, forming memories that kept the model alive long after production ended. The design language, once an oddity, became a cultural artifact that symbolized optimism and individuality. Its presence in rallies, collector events, and historic displays continues to honor the spirit behind its creation. Today, the 1966 Citroën Ami 6 stands as proof that originality can thrive when executed with conviction. Its influence encourages us to value authenticity and thoughtful engineering, even in the simplest forms of mobility. As we reflect on the journey of the 1966 Citroën Ami 6, the lessons become clear. Purposeful design endures, comfort matters, and character can elevate a modest car into an icon. The Ami 6 invites us to remember that utility and personality can coexist without conflict. The model embraced both with confidence that still resonates. Thank you for spending time exploring this chapter of automotive history. If you enjoyed this deep dive, remember to like, subscribe, and comment with the next topic you want to see explored.